This week's conversation with Loetitia Gibier is made possible by Aia Folk Embroidery at avliaembroidery.com. I say this every time because it's true. Designer Krista West continues to generate a steady stream of great designs. Among the latest are a folk flourish sampler bookmark kit in ivory and white, and each kit has 3 different folk fabrics, and the bookmark designs are borders taken from some of Avlia's most popular designs. Releasing September 1 is the Byzantine Rose on Ashwood design. This is one of Krista's earliest designs that she has now adapted to a new 30-count taupe fabric. Etruscan Diamonds, also releasing September 1, is another early design that hasn't been offered in several years. There have been many requests, and Krista is bringing it back so that you can enjoy it once again. To meet many requests for entry-level projects, Krista is adapting several larger designs, such as Clara's Garden, to the 6-inch hoop kit format. And this last one is for Fiber Talk and Avlia addict Enid. Of course, others can participate. Enid, add another tab to your Avlia spreadsheet for an upcoming set of embroidery designs from Krista's collaboration with her Greek embroidery tutor. They are stamped on French linen and designed to make table runners and cushion covers. Watch for them and much more at avliaembroidery.com. Thanks to Aia Folk Embroidery for sponsoring this show, and now our conversation with Loetitia Gibier. Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr, and you are listening to Fiber Talk, the twice-weekly podcast for the needlework artists. And our artist this week from Korry's Little Shop is Loetitia Gibier. Loetitia, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How'd I do on that French last name? Kind of semi-close. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, but that was good. That was really good.
It'll take some practice. Yep. All right, we're going to, now Loetitia has her own shop. But the Goldwork, the Beetles, as a former science teacher, I latch right onto this kind of stuff. The Beetles are spectacular. Whoa, yeah. So, all right. So the Korry part.
Yeah.
Nickname from your dad. I love the story. Tell the story.
Well, I started really stitching for good, like being really obsessed with it when I was at uni. I left France to come and live in the UK as an Erasmus student, and I couldn't take a telly with me, so I left having learned the basics of embroidery, and then I arrived in the UK and discovered Crossstitch, and that's all I did obsessively. And after my year in the UK, I came back with 2 things. I had ditched all my clothes, left them in the UK. I came back with sci-fi books and cross-stitch kits. and I spent a year at home after leaving uni at a bit of a difficult level to actually be a trained scientist, between 2-degree level. Not finding a job, so I went back to my parents, and I am a bit of a night owl. I do not do well in the morning at all, but talk to me at 11 at night and I'm on fire.
Okay.
And so I would stay up all night to stitch, and in the morning my parents would discover those pieces of embroidery on the breakfast table. They had no idea I was working on. And and my dad and one morning my dad went, "You know what you are? You're a Corrigan." And I'm like, "What?" And he said, "A Corrigan is a little Celtic demon that lives in the house and take care of the chores for the human. It's a noise demon. A lot in the Celtic legends, demons are actually noise characters."
Oh, okay.
And he said they stay in the house and they do the house chore at night, but in particular the needlework.
Oh,
So that's what you are. You're a Corrigan.
oh, and it's
The
stuck.
thing, exactly, and the thing about the Corrigan is that they can also be a little bit mischievous, hiding stuff from the human. So to this day, I've got a best friend who loses stuff on a regular basis, or keys and whatever. And my answer to her is always, "You haven't fed the Corrigan. You need to leave a few crumbs and a drop of milk on the side, and your keys will reappear." And I swear to you, it works every single time.
Okay, okay. It's a thing. It's a thing. All right.
It is a thing. So when I really started having my first job, moved to Paris, and then I met other friends of my age online, who also did cross stitch. And at the time, we were all part of a forum online, and my username became Korry. So
Oh,
in a lot of the embroidery world, I'm known as Korry.
oh, okay, okay. Yeah. So the cross stitch now in your website and on all your stuff, I don't see any cross stitch. So that kind of went away as you.
Yeah, so after my year as an Erasmus student, as I said, I went back home. I then spent a couple of years looking for a job. Ended up finding a job in an area I wasn't expecting, namely clinical research. And then um, I came back to the UK about 5, 6, 7 years later, this time for good, and with a job, with my day job. Basically, my day job got me back to the UK. Living in the
Okay.
UK was always a dream for me. And basically at that point in time, if I wanted to meet people outside of the office, I thought, you know what, I'm going to do what I did when I was in Paris. I'm going to found an embroidery group.
Oh, okay.
And I went to my local library and came across my local branch of the Embroiderers Guild. And there was a phone number on there, and the person that answered the phone is still my best friend to this day.
Oh boy.
She is the first person I met 20 years ago outside of the office, and we're still you. Pauline is with me all the way. She helps me during shows. She is my proofreader for all my instructions, etc. So,
Uh,
and from there, discovering the Embroiderers Guild,
so that
I
was just a chance thing. You just called her up
complete
and.
yeah. And from discovering the Embroiderers Guild, obviously, I discovered there was more to the embroidery world than cross
Yep.
stitch.
Uh
And that was a rabbit hole that I haven't come out of. So there isn't currently a lot of cross stitch on my website, but there is quite a few things in the pipeline I can't
huh.
talk about right now.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's still part of the mix then.
Yes, and that piece behind me is literally what I'm doing at the moment as a relaxation in the evening, and it is a piece of cross stitch that is not my design.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So still in play. So and
Yeah,
I love that you discover because that's yeah, that's kind of why we exist is to expose people to all the other types of needlework that exist
mm,
outside of whatever technique people do, and I love hearing stories about people discovering there's another world out there of all kinds of things. So you discovered because what it. I mean, the things you list are embroidery, stump work, gold work, and silk shading, but your gold work is, yeah, wow.
I never thought Goldwork was going to be a thing. So what happened for me is still in my first year back in the UK 20 years ago. And I basically was watching something on telly, and it was a video diary. So it's a program on the BBC here that still carries on called Country File, where they basically talk about the countryside, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And on that program was a an embroiderer based in Wales, somebody called Alison Holt, that does machine embroidery photograph, like they look like a photo.
Oh,
And I was absolutely impressed by her. So I was like, "Ooh, I want to learn that." So I basically started Googling where was she teaching, because she was talking in that video diary that she was doing workshops, etc. And I discovered Miss Ndanabe, who was literally half an hour away from me. So I then went on the Miss Ndanabe website and started Googling every single tutor. And and then um, and then I came across Kay Dennis' work,
Okay.
which is stump work, obviously.
Yep.
And then my reaction to it was like, "Yep, that is for me. That I
Uh,
want to do."
uh-huh.
And when you were at Miss Ndanabe at that time, when they had multiple classes running at the same time, you would at break you would go and visit the other classes to
Okay.
go and what they were up to and whether you would be interested. And I met Hazel Everett, who was an ex apprentice of the Royal School of Needlework and was the goldwork expert at the time. And for me, goldwork, I knew goldwork from the French version, which is very ecclesiastical, all done in gold, very military as well. And I'm probably the only goldwork tutor that hates the color of gold. So I had dismissed it from the get go because it was like, that's not for me. That's never
Yeah.
going to be for me.
Yeah.
And then I met Hazel, discovered there was color
Uh,
involved, discovered Hazel had a shared love with me of dragons and fairies and weird and fantastic things.
uh-huh.
And and we clicked. We clicked immediately in like a 2 second discussion. And so I started taking classes with her. And Hazel had this thing about she was not teaching from kits. She was literally teaching you the technique, but she wanted you to do your own design. And she didn't want you to go through, the City and Guild way of designing of sketchbooks and learning to create texture on the paper and stuff. I can't, people will not ever believe this when I say that, but I can't draw to save my life.
Yeah.
And so for me, the design was something that was like, I can't do that. Give me a pattern. Yes, no problem. But do not ask me to design.
Yeah.
And then I always remember that Hazel said to me in my first class, she said to me, you do know tracing paper has been invented for a reason, right? and and that opened an entire world because for me, I could work from existing. I was doing the work for myself. I wasn't designing commercially.
Right.
So I could use tracing paper and pick up a dragon wing from there and a fairy head from there and create my own design. And before I knew it, within about 2 years, I will always remember that moment where she sat next to me and she would do that. She would go around the class, sat with each person and talk through with them what they were doing during the class. And she sat with me, and then I said to her, right, this is what I've done. And it was my first bug. It was a dragonfly. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm going to do for the wings. This is what I'm going to do there. This is what I'm going to do there. This is what I'm going to do there. And then all she did was stand up and go, thank you very much. That's your design done. You don't need me anymore. And I had a moment of like, hold on, no, that was me just having a chat. And she's like, no, that's your stitch plan.
There we have it. Oh
And
my.
so, yeah, that's how the goldwork came about. And that's how the bugs came about. And which people around me found hilarious, especially currently in this weather. I am a trained biologist. One of my degrees in biology, and but I absolutely hate bugs.
No. That's tough to do. That's tough to do.
Yeah.
That's tough. So these gorgeous beetles that you have, then those are all traced what from photographs, illustrations, pieced together.
So the Beetles stem from. So now, obviously, I've evolved in the way I work, but the Beetles started. The first few I've designed started from photos I've used as a basis. So my purple and gold one, for example, I changed the colors, but the actual pattern of the wings, etc., is a beetle that exists out there. It's an African beetle.
Uh huh.
And then from there, it kind of evolved. Now I use a lot of pattern with commercial licenses,
Okay.
and I always modify them. So it's very rarely that I can pick up a pattern and just transform it in embroidery. There's always something that needs to be adjusted, designed. There's a bit that I don't like, so I'm bringing something else from somewhere else, etc. So,
Hmm.
but sometimes I even have to draw from scratch. It doesn't happen very often.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no. So, but yeah, it's that's how I create my design. Basically, I reference other work. I'm very conscious of copyright, so I do buy all the appropriate licenses and stuff when I
Okay.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
because
have
that's
to.
that gets to be a tricky area when you're using and modifying, but
Yeah,
still it's someone else's work at the origin. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
we have there's a lot of support out there. There's a lot of commercially available database of designs and stuff. You just need to be ready to pay the price.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Have
business
have
expense.
you? This is something that has come across my mind time to time. Written? Have you written to artists or photographers to say, "Can I use your?"
Yeah.
Are they generally
Um, I have. It's usually easier if it's people that you know personally.
okay?
I have been very brave and written to recording artists. I'm thinking of the album cover from Muse, one of the Muse album that is this rainbow of hexagon going smaller and smaller that I wanted to reproduce at some point or inspire from, and I've written to the actual recording, like the production house.
Uh-huh.
Never got an answer.
Never. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's yeah. So I mean, it's probably going to preempt a little bit, but if we fast forward to COVID and the lockdown, I discovered Islamic art, and that is a type of drawing I can do because you use a ruler and a compass, and there's a
Uh,
method to them. And from there, I started getting involved with a lot of artists that comes out of the King's School of Traditional Art, and very talented people. And so a lot of my more geometric work has been inspired by things I've learned during those classes. But obviously, I have to ask the tutor's approval to be
right.
able to use what we've learned because it is their design, it is their class,
Yeah.
etc. Even if I
Yeah.
transfer it in another medium. And so far, yeah, it's been they're more than happy to share because they know it's getting the art known as well. So for them, then they know there's something that is coming back to them, and their name is mentioned usually in those tutorials, etc.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I never know. I have one idea that I'd like to do, but I have it's a stained glass, and
Yeah,
I have to find the artist because I really feel like I need to get permission to do it. So, yeah.
I would say yes. It's a good idea to ask. And at the end of the day, as much as I can be quite shy and not very and a bit socially awkward, there is at some point in my brain something goes, you know what do you risk? They're not going to answer you, or they're going to say no. You move
Yeah.
on,
Yeah. So true.
and
Yeah.
you are surprised. People say yes more than they say no.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so you have all that, but then um, we have some actual training though. I mean, you've gone through some actual training. I was curious about city and guilds, level 1 and 2 in stump work. What?
Yeah, so it's something that doesn't exist anymore. But City and Guild in the UK is it was a some way of so an organization that did adult learning a little bit like Open University still exists, for example. And a City and Guild in embroidery was a thing. In stump work in particular was a thing. There was one in Goldwork as well. It is a course that has got a syllabus that gives you a qualification that is recognized. There is out there to become a plumber, for example. Most of the plumbers out there will have a city and guild
Oh,
in their field. It is
Oh,
a
okay. So,
professional qualification.
so that's where that comes from. Okay, I see.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And basically, at the time I could do mine, I was part of the last series of students doing City and Guild. So technically, there was a level 3, but it didn't run after my level 2 because that was then when the organization was no longer funded, and it doesn't exist nowadays.
Oh, what a shame. Yeah.
And mine was done with Kay Dennis as the main tutor, and
Well, that
the
worked
level,
out.
yes, and level 1 was an intensive run by the Embroiderers Guild at the time in their when they had the studio at Hampton Court, just down the road, like literally 2 doors down from the RSN.
Okay.
And it was done as an intensive course where you would literally learn the basics of the stump work technique over a week. And then level 2 was a 3 years course that was done remotely. So you would work on your own, send your assessment to be reviewed. And I was literally the last student to be assessed. And my assessor was Enfia Godfrey, that is the creative director of the Embroiderers Guild.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You've connected with some powerful people. That's great.
I have, yes, I've been lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. The and then Japanese embroidery. You're in the middle of that now.
Yes, I am
What
in the middle of that.
what level are you at?
Uh, I'm technically a level 9. I've
Oh,
started my level 9, but I haven't finished my level 8, so my phase
okay.
8. So I'm near there. I'm near the end. I know when I started, I joked about the fact it would take me 10 years. Turn out it took me 15, and I'm not there yet. um, Again, it's a class I discovered at Missenden Abbey, where my tutor, Janet Cronin, was teaching. And she's local to me. And when Missenden Abbey stopped, then came back, now going away again. I started working with her as a private student, basically in her house. She's about 45 minutes away from me,
Hmm.
so that's easily done. And obviously during COVID was a bit more complicated. That's also why it's taken me so long.
Yeah.
Um, and I did the classes directly with the Japanese Embroidery Center in Atlanta, the online classes they've
Yeah.
run, and they're still running. So yeah, I'm in the process of that with the hope of being a qualified tutor at some point.
Oh, that's so you are trying to get to
Yeah,
that point. Yeah. Okay.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love
Mm,
that Japanese embroidery. A friend of ours who's a longtime listener, Deb DeCrane, is
uh-huh.
I don't know what level she's at, but going through it, and when she
Yeah.
talks about it, the precision that's involved is what really fascinates me. I mean, there's no messing around with that stuff. Yeah.
That is the thing. Is I always say that Japanese embroidery is the technique I came to last.
Uh huh.
Uh, but once I started, it made everything else so much better
Ah. Okay. Yeah.
because it gives you that precision, and my scientific mind loves that
Yeah.
precision. That yes, I need to get my set squares out. Yeah.
Now I see because there's a statement somewhere in your materials that you're more of a technician than an artist. So
Yeah.
now I'm seeing what you mean by that. That side of it appeals to you.
I am like a 7 years old that I just discovered the dinosaurs existed and will literally learn every single fact about every single dinosaurs that ever
Uh
was.
huh.
I am like that. Mention a stitch I don't know. Give me a week, and I will know everything there is to know about it. I am not somebody. My branch of the Embroiderers Guild, when they were still in existence, was formed by Jan Binet and Jean Littlejohn, which are very much abstract artists and just go with the flow. And
Yeah.
I am the complete opposite of that.
Yeah.
Uh, my instructions are written before I start stitching. So
Oh.
everybody tells me, how do you design your kits? the stitch plan and instructions are written. I create the kit before I start stitching,
I'll be
basically.
darned. Okay.
And for me, designing, I felt comfortable designing embroidery once I knew everything there was to know out there.
Oh, okay.
So this is why I describe myself as a technician, because I can bore you to death about every single detail of every single thread, and why this thread is better, and why this needle is better, and why I made these choices, and why I'm stitching it in this particular manner. And
Yeah, yeah.
that's why I describe myself as a technician. Give me a bunch of stuff and like give me a mystery pack and expect me to have a piece of embroidery at the end of the day. That doesn't work for me.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
There
Yeah.
is no going with the flow.
When did you now, because you have a full-time job on top of this,
Yeah.
but you're a night owl, so that gives you a lot of hours of stitching
Yes.
time. When did you start to focus on design work?
It happened. It happened as a dare to myself. So the business started was not at all about creating kits. It was originally about creating baby mobile in felt. So it was in my mind is that I
Wait, wait,
wanted to
wait,
carry
wait,
on.
wait. What? That's a left turn and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. It was about my need to create and my need to stitch every day with a space, as you can see, that is very, very crowded.
Yeah.
So it was a question of how can I carry on creating whilst carry on piling up stuff that do nothing.
Yeah.
You know, this old age thing of people that don't stitch that come to you and go, why do you do this? What are you going to do with this king size quilt at the end of it? And they're
Uh,
like, that's not the point. The point
right.
is to make it.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
And I'm very much like that. For me, it's all about the journey. The finished piece doesn't interest me. There is no embroidery on the wall in my house because it's about the making of the piece.
Uh-huh.
And so I had a friend who would come. I would get those phone calls going, I've got a birthday party I'm going to. I forgot to buy a present. Can I come and check your boxes? And she literally started paying me for my work.
Oh.
And I never thought that was even an option, to be honest. For me, it was either you're an artist and you're recognized as an artist and you exhibit and then you sell your work that way. It was not creating work to sell as a commercial basis, like you would buy a gift card. Never crossed my mind
No.
before that friend literally used my stash like that. And then I thought, okay, so I can do craft fairs and be exhibited in galleries and stuff, but hand embroidery is very slow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not recognized like watercolor or an oil painting would
Right.
be, where basically people are happy to pay the price, but they don't understand the work that's gone into it. So I thought, okay, so I need to be able to do something that is relatively quick, that I can sell for a decent price that people will accept. And that's when the felt decoration came into play. And it was at a period of time where it was quite popular as well, about 15 years ago. And so that devolved on me creating more and more complex pieces, obviously, because I'm me. And the baby kept, and people keep on asking me, can you create this baby mobile on this theme? And then the design came into play.
Ah.
And I had finished my City and Guild at that point, so I knew how to design. And and then from creating the felt, I actually did that for about 4 or 5 years. Ended up giving myself a very bad repeat strain injury on my right hand
Oh.
from the stuffing of the felt decorations.
Oh.
So at some point, I had to think, you know what, that's not going to be viable long term.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was very much involved with the Embroiderers Guild, more at regional level, and I ended up being involved in events where we were demonstrating and then teaching, and then discovered I had a knack for teaching workshops.
Mm-hmm.
That people love the way I teach. So from there came the creation of the kits,
Okay.
and that's how the U-turn happened, basically.
Yeah.
Uh, that I mean, I still do the odd baby mobile if I get a request, but I think the last one I did was about 4 years ago, so I haven't done one
Oh.
recently. But yeah, that's how the design came into play, and then it's all sorts. For me, it's all about random discussions happening, often in the middle of the night on social media, of having a chat with someone and saying, I'm going to be cheeky here. If you hear those words out of my mouth, you know something out of left field is coming. And I remember having a chat in the middle of the night with Georgina Bellamy and saying to her, I've always wondered, how do you work for magazines?
Hmm.
And then she said to me, well, it's easy. You send an email to the editor and then offer your services.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the next day I was sat in a boring meeting, and I work from home on a lot of Zoom calls. So it's easy for me to not be on camera.
There you go.
And don't tell my boss, I'm going to get into so much trouble. Uh, and the last edition of Stitch magazine was on my desk, and I kind of looked through it and then realized this email of the editor is in the magazine.
Oh,
So I thought, you know what? All I risk is a no
that's right.
or a
Worst. Well,
non-answer.
yep. Worst they can say. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I sent the email. And by that time, I was doing a lot of work with the Embroiderers Guild. I had won a few awards in the Members Challenge. And I messaged them. And when I say I can be cheeky at times, I can be really cheeky. My email read, I don't know if you know who I am. I was absolutely unknown, apart from the fact I was working with the guild. And and but Stitch magazine belonged to the guild then.
Oh.
But here's what I do. Here's an example of a few of my pieces. Would you be interested in a tutorial?
Oh. Mm-hmm.
It took them 20 minutes to answer me.
Oh, wow.
And 20 minutes later, the email read, we know fully who you are. We've been following you
Oh.
on social media, which I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And we are absolutely interested in your work. Here's a list of future issues and deadline and a list of theme. Give us a brief. Give us more than one brief. Try to pick up in those 5 or 6 next issue the theme that interests you the most and give us a brief.
Oh.
I wasn't expecting that answer. I went in full panic mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Not. Yeah. Ask. Be careful what you ask for. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. And proceeded on doing what I do best when I panic, procrastinate.
Oh, jeez.
And went complete radio silent for 2 weeks.
Mm.
And credit to the editor, she chased me.
Oh.
And 2 weeks later, I get another email from her saying, do you have a brief? We have the meeting where we're going to decide who's going in those issues
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. We need a brief.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to her, I'm not ready yet, but here's what I'm thinking. So for this issue, the topic is on food. So here's an idea. And for this issue, the topic is on the human form. That's not really my thing, but I've been having this sugar skull that is kicking at the back of my head. That maybe could work. And then here's an issue. And then I ended up answering every single of the 6 issues. But just like that, like I'm talking to you, chatting with a friend of, I could do this and I could do that. And
Just
maybe
right
I
off.
could do this one.
Just right off the top of your head. Oh.
Exactly. And then her answer was, thank you very much for your brief.
Oh. All they needed.
And I went, what? And yeah, it turned out I didn't know what a brief was, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the end, a week later, I got the email that what they wanted was the one thing I never thought they would select was the sugar skull.
Oh.
And she gave me a deadline. Um, I think I had about 4 or 5 months to do it. And I'm a real neurodivergent. If there is no deadline, there is no work.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, so I didn't do anything
Oh, jeez.
up until 3 weeks before the deadline, and then I worked all hours. And I ended up finishing a week before the deadline. And
Oh.
then I had this fantastic idea of saying to her, the original design I had in my head was on black fabric with shades of white, grey, and red. I know you wanted a bright colored one, so this is what I created.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't help but thinking it would really look good in red, grey, and black. And the answer said, "Do you have the time to create another one then?"
Oh, jeez.
So the tutorial in the magazine is the bright colored one, but there is a second version that exists that was also sent to the magazine
Uh,
for them to take photos of, which is the dark version, as it's called.
wow. So does your color and design? I mean, you've had some training, but it
Yeah,
seems to be a nat come to you naturally to some degree. Huh?
color does.
Color
Color
does. Okay.
definitely does.
Yeah.
Color for me, I discovered recently, and that's going to be very much biology related. But humans are not created equal when it comes to seeing color. We have a different number of receptors in our eyes, which
Mm-hmm.
depend on our DNA, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I seem to be lucky because I've got all the receptors in
Ah.
my eyes. So
Okay.
I see probably a lot more colors than other people do.
Uh-huh.
And the way I design is very, very different than other designers. For me, the finished piece appears in my head, ready made, with the
Oh.
colors,
Oh.
everything. And I reverse engineer it.
Oh. Okay.
So I need those designs sometimes to live in my head for a while until every single tiny detail is resolved.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I say when I say I write the instructions first, is because when it's ready to come out on paper, I know exactly how every single thing's going to work. One of the downsides during my city and guild is you have technically to do samples.
Mm. Oh, and you don't do
And
samples.
and I had this entire discussion with Kay. I'm like, I don't do samples. I can't. It just works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Kay said to me, "You have to. I will have to fail you if there is no samples in your
Oh.
books."
Oh.
All my samples were created after the final pieces.
Oh. Okay. More than one way to get to that. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, color comes naturally in a sense that I can put colors together very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what works and what doesn't. I can walk past somebody else's work and that person says, "Oh, can I get your opinion?" And I will go immediately within seconds. I will go, "Yeah, that doesn't work."
Yeah. You just
And
see it.
I see it. I can't even explain it. I can color match very well. Um, and that leads to my more recent work with the Sampler Guild and Linda Hadden, that I think you've interviewed before as well,
Yeah.
because I can color match very well. The design portion, I question a lot more. I'm
Okay.
second guessing the entire way. I know at some point I will reach an ugly stage.
Hmm.
I will reach, and a lot of people talk about that in design, where you create the piece and you're like, "Oh, I'm not sure this is working." And it's very hard at that point in time to push through, because sometimes you just need to, most of the time, you just need to push through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm someone who, when I finished something, I'm actually very glad when I send stuff to Stitch magazine and it disappears for 6 months, or when I send stuff to the Embroiders Guild and it disappears for a year because it's touring with them in their exhibitions. Because when I send that piece, I can tell you almost with certainty, I hate them by the time I'm done.
Okay.
And then I send them away, and then they come back. And when they come back, I see them with new eyes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, actually, I understand why this kit is popular because it really works."
Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah.
The design portion, I will second guess myself. The technique used, I don't. That I know even before I start.
Yeah. You
I,
can see how it needs to get put together. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see that. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird way to design. I never really have sketchbooks, and
Yeah.
I mean, I do now because of the Islamic art drawing and the geometric drawing, but that is a new thing for me.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So where does I guess I'm starting to see where the shop part of your business
Yeah.
comes about. I can see how that evolves. Was it teaching classes that really got things going?
For me, it was seeing those pieces in my head and thinking, how do I source the supply? And the one trigger for the shop was sourcing black pearl. That was fine enough.
No.
So you can get in the UK via Benton and Johnson coloured pearl, but they start at a size 2, and I wanted something thinner
Mm-hmm.
and black because I mean, you will see in a lot of my design. My design are very graphic. There's often a very strong black outline in them,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and
Definitely. Yep.
and uh, for me, the option was I can cover paper covered wires in buttonhole until the cows come home, or or I can have purple I can couch down, and it's going to be so much easier.
Right.
And that's how it came about, hunting down a supplier of Goldwork Supplies that would have a black pearl that was 1 millimeter, 1.25 millimeter thick. And as I said, I sit in a lot of lengthy meeting in my day job, and that means I have a lot of time to source and hunt stuff down. And I enjoy the rabbit hole. I enjoy hunting suppliers down. So I found suppliers in India and Pakistan that could do it, but they only were willing to dye the wire to order by 5 or 10 kilos. And with the
Ooh.
best will in the world, I can create so many kits in my entire life, so many pieces of work. I wouldn't use 5 kilos of purple on my own.
Man, that's an incredible amount.
Yeah, so but I really wanted it. So from there, I discovered that they would dye on demand other colors, and it just evolved
Yeah.
or snowballed, as some might say. Because yeah, my website actually stocks more than 300 type and colors of wires.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them a lot very unusual. As far as I'm concerned, if it's shiny and I can even couch it or stitch with it, it will go in.
Hmm. Is
And that's
I
how the supplies came about. And then from there, I started being known for difficult to source supplies.
Oh, okay.
And then people got in touch. Like sometimes receive random emails of, I've got 800 skein of DMC flower thread at home. Do you want them?
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's how the shop evolved, and that's how I made a conscious decision right from the beginning that I wasn't gonna stock box standard DMC. I mean, I can have it, and I do use it in my kits,
Yeah.
but it's I couldn't compete with the prices of the big boys like the Hobbycraft and the websites,
Right.
etc.
Yeah.
So there was no point. My space is at a premium, and I wanted to be a shop that found the unusual stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Are you able to get Goldwork supplies? Are the Goldwork supplies in India of quality compared to
Yeah.
what you can get in the UK?
Um. So there is a downside to the supplies coming from India and Pakistan. Is sometimes the twist is not as regular.
Okay.
Bright check, for example, is going to be the twist going to be a lot looser than what the UK production will produce. There is a benefit to them in the sense that in India and Pakistan they're created for the fashion world,
Mm.
so they tend to be a lot more resistant. Rendering, like teaching gold work to people when you know that the minute you're going to breathe on that wire, you risk to cling it and damage it, scares people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if the supplies is a bit more resistant, and I mean, in terms of quality, it's I never saw them as inferior quality for me because they were giving me the colors I wanted. The 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 price points being lower made them a bit less scary as well.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that for me was, I never had the preconceived idea of this is what good quality looks like. For
Okay.
me, it was, and I use a lot of very unusual codes, etc., that nobody would think about being a Goldwork Supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it is pulling your hair out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is sometimes sending thousands of pounds as a money transfer order, not knowing whether your parcel's going to arrive.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. It's asking for a color to be reproduced because you've used it in a kit and you've run out and then you need a new batch. And no matter how many times you send them a sample, what comes out is never the same
Never,
color.
never the same.
It's trying to obtain a deep, rich purple that is a color that doesn't seem to exist in their language.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're purple are always more on the plum,
Oh.
reddish purple
Okay.
side of things. You
Uh.
don't get the proper blue,
Yeah.
rich purple.
Yeah.
That is the one color that escapes me to this day. Um, yeah, there is. I mean, there is benefit to their supplies. I mean, I still sell Benton and Johnson supplies. I still work a lot with them. Some of my kits are entirely built on their supplies. It's for me, it's just an expansion. It's just more choice,
Yeah. Okay.
more colors, which is always my motto: is more colors.
Right. Right. Yeah. I noticed that when I first saw your goldwork pieces. Yeah. There's very little gold at all. It's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. But oh, striking stuff. Striking stuff. Yep. And then you. It's also interesting. You have a whole list of designs from others that you've set up kits for.
Yeah.
That must. I get the impression that's a big part of your business. Is just.
It is nowadays. It is nowadays. Yeah, that is very recent. That is in the last couple of years. And one of the thing is, when I was doing cross stitch, I used to model stitch a lot for other designers,
Okay.
and I still do. And basically, the top of the top at the time I was doing cross stitch was Shetland Designs,
Mm-hmm.
and I know how complicated it is to source a kit like this. And unfortunately, with me and my little brain, it goes, okay, challenge accepted.
Ah.
Uh,
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah.
and basically from there, I and meeting with Linda and the guys of the Sampler Guild, etc. There was a real need for. There are people out there that love to source their own supplies. They love to go on 5 different websites and
Mm-hmm.
find one's came there and one's came there, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I'm one of those. There's also people out there that just want to have everything in a box, sit down, and have more stitching time. And the shopping side of things, they're not interested.
Yeah. Yep.
And I met a lot of people like that. And as I started doing more and more stitch retreats, etc., as a supplier, um, there was a true need to create the fret packs. And then I thought, well, if I'm creating a fret packs for a retreat, I might as well put it on the website. So
Sure.
as I met more and more designers in those retreats, I kind of said to them, How about we have this mutual agreement that I create the thread packs for your pattern, you
Oh.
mention me in your pattern, and I
Mm-hmm.
mention you on my website.
Ah. Okay.
And then yeah, it's working well, and I do a lot of that. And obviously, what my brain didn't realize when I went challenge accepted is kitting shuttling is not for the faint of heart. That's for sure. Especially when you're based in the UK, you're a tiny business, and you have to fight customs on a regular basis for them to release your silk threads. And yeah, it is. It is not an easy job, but
Yeah.
it's. I also never realized how much demand there would be on this side, because for me there were businesses that were well established that were doing it. Um, I never thought there would be a demand the way it has been. So when I thought, oh, I'll probably do 2 or 3 kits a year, and that'll be me
Oh.
me done. Yeah, when I released the Shetland kitting in particular, I think the first 3 months I got daily requests.
Oh my. Didn't expect that at all then.
I didn't expect that at all. So I'm still working through a massive, massive to do list. And of course, I designing my own kit. Some of my kits I've got. I mean, my latest, the one that's in Stitch magazine at the moment, the phenology wheel. There's more than 150 different elements to that kit.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, if I can do that for myself, I can do it for others.
Yeah.
And that's how all of this came about. It's quite it's quite a burden in terms of admin, of staying on top of stock, etc. So thankfully the embroidery customers are, generally speaking, very patient. So when you say to them, your kit you've been waiting for 8 months that I thought was complete, I'm still missing one skein.
Oh jeez.
So yeah, it's a learning curve, that's for sure. That's a
Yeah.
very recent development to the business, and it's a major learning curve.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's working well.
yeah. Well, I think
And
that's. I mean, I think
sorry,
most shop owners, the
yeah,
toughest part is dealing with thread inventory. You
yeah,
just constant constant ordering and never having the right color, and I'm sure it's just an endless thing. No matter what you do,
yeah.
yeah, never
It's
have enough.
yeah, and it's discussing with the manufacturers that are discontinuing thread right, left, and center
No,
because they don't think it's viable, and you're like, no, don't
yeah,
do this. I think
yeah,
we've all been
yeah.
there.
Well, and that's tough all the way around
Yeah.
because you can't sit on threads that aren't selling, and they can't manufacture threads that don't sell. And it may be important to you, but to the bigger market, it's
Not necessarily, yeah.
right. Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's that juggling act, and that's how you end up with a studio like mine.
yeah, 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 yeah. So what's next for you? Do you have workshops coming up? Talks?
I Yeah, I do have a very full calendar next year. There is a Stitch retreat being done in partnership with the Sampler Guild, um, where I'm going to be both supplier and teacher on some of the more complex technique for the samplers. There is a busy schedule of talk,
Mm-hmm.
um, workshop for next year. There's the last edition of Stitch magazine is due near the end of the year because the phenology wheel was like 6 tutorials. So they split them across 6 issues. That is, I think there's 2 more to come.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, there's plenty of the pipeline. Not all of it is signed yet, so I can't talk about it.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
would say keep an eye out on the social media, and there's big project coming in next year, and a lot of work coming in next year. That's for sure.
Excellent.
There's not going to be a lot of sleep.
Well, it doesn't sound like you know how to sleep anyway, so that's all
No,
right.
exactly.
Yeah. All right, Letitia, thanks so much. Wow, what a ride. You got all kinds of things in the air. That's great.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Thanks for the time, and thanks to everyone for listening.
Thank you very much. Bye.